Alrighty, guys. It is 3:30 this Thursday, October 23rd. Sorry, I missed the last update. I got stuck in something. Happens. So, but it wasn't really much happening. I mean, I had at the before 1:30, I had a little rotation, and then we pretty much stalled and started grinding back up. I was watching this really carefully here at the 2 o'clock hour for a potential trend shift. So far, I'm not seeing anything. I'm just kind of holding at the end. I've been holding off from or holding for a potential short setup up here against resistance. So it's a pretty good resistance area. You're right up against it. The only thing is that you have taken out these two, so the 40s and the 60s. So we're technically on the long side of this, back up in this upper range, but we are up against that upper area of resistance, and this could be a nice little short setting up. We'll see if they where they're going to go from here. But that's I've been watching it, but I'm not seeing any weakness. I'm not seeing them trying to hammer it or anything. It may happen pretty quick when it happens. So, but I mean, I was watching it, and I didn't want to just get in on the short up here, just getting stuck twisting in the wind for a while. It's not haven't gone anywhere pretty much. So, but it's interesting that M period just sat there up here and it didn't do anything. And well, we'll take it. I'm hesitant to hop on the long side right now because you're running buying right into the resistance. So that's not a good trade right now. If you wanted to get long, you would have kind of had to get long around this area before you after this rotation down when it starts grinding higher would have been your long entry if you wanted to be on the long side of this. So there you have it. I would start off on the at the range bound with a buy to the upside if they close where they are right now. Or if they close above the 60s, I would start off with a slight bias to the upside and see if they can grind this higher. And if they rotate, if they close below that 60s, we're going to start with a bias to the downside if we get one of those little knockdowns late in the session here. So that's kind of where we are. No trades on the ES for me today. I did take one trade on the Nasdaq, and I haven't taken anyone since. I've been watching it very carefully, trying to find a spot to get. I'm super tempted to do something here, especially this rotation here when they started heading lower. I was really kind of thinking that they would take this lower, but you see what happened. They ran it lower, then complete reversal, and then ran it up and ran the stops about outside the obvious. So that just tells you that they're not quite ready for a sell-off yet. Otherwise, you would have seen a pile-on effect right here. So Nasdaq not quite up here to that upper level. And so they're up here, not quite up here at they just touched the 280s high of yesterday, not quite up in this upper area of resistance. Technically, I probably should have moved that resistance a little bit lower, given that, but I wasn't really thinking I was going to get this high up this morning, so I wasn't adjusting these areas. But right now, it looks like resistance is going to be a little bit lower at the 280s. So potential short setup up here on the Nasdaq as well. But we'll see if they're going to turn into something or not. But at right now, it feels very much like they're going to try to take it higher. Um, we've seen this area before, though. So if they can take it higher late in the session, we may see a knockdown, and that would be you had to be aggressive late in the session and I'm probably not going to deal with that. So, but no selling going into the last half hour yet. It doesn't mean it can't happen, and it can be pretty violent. It may happen in the last 10 minutes or so, but right now they're definitely holding on to it. So if they hold above this area, let's see here, 200, if that holds, I would start off range bound with a bias to the upside. If they close below the 200s, probably take off and then start range bound, kind of the way I would look at this. So we'll see if this strength is going to hold into the close. But just one trade today, it was basically a scratch. I was short then early on when they were trading higher. That was in the morning here. That was at this point when they started failing. I got short, had a break-even trade, got shaken out, and then I didn't re-engage it after that. So that's kind of the dynamic. That's the only trade I took so far today. On the bond market, we are pretty much range bound and not going anywhere. We backed off the highs, and we haven't really kept going. We had one probe to the downside, nice V-test failure at the London close at the 16s. That would have been a trade to take. I totally missed that. I'm seeing it now actually, but if you look at this down at 16, you could not get filled down here though. They have like 37 and 16 contracts traded, so that's just not enough. You could fill at 17, but not at 16, even if it looks good on the F4. So I would say range-bound bonds, maybe start with a slight bias to the downside unless they can trade up above that 118.30 to 119. And then finally, oil and gold. And these guys are, gold is backing off a little bit. So So far, so much for that. They could not extend any further, and this may be just that little burp here. If they start taking out this area, the 4140s, 39 to 40s, I would look for a retracement trade. Look for a short trade if that comes out, see how far they can take it. Because this right now looks like they kind of run out of gas, and you would expect them to close a little bit stronger here, not towards the low end of the range. So watch the close here on gold. That can signal if they're going to see some weakness in the overnight. I would still look to buy against that 39 to 40s, but with a lot of caution late in the session like that, it feels very much like they're probably going to take this lower. So it is still a buying opportunity, but not very aggressive, right? And then finally, gold or so oil, and it traded up to the 6160s, and this is all based on that the sanctions on Russian oil. A short-term pop in prices to be expected, and we'll see if they how far they're gonna drive this to the upside. So far, no continuation to the upside, but yes, run out of gas here at the 62s, and now they're kind of going sideways. So I would trade it range bound. I would still keep a buy to the upside. Probably look to buy against that 6120s and the 6075s here for rotations back up again. Below that 6075, you may see a rotation to the downside again. But right now, I think the uncertainty is going to keep the prices a little bit to the upside, maybe even higher. All right, so that's oil and gold. So gold, watch that the support there at the 39 to 40. If that comes out, could be a nice short retracement trade setting up. If not, it could be a rotation back here to the 55s. And on oil, stay range bound, look to buy weakness and see how far they can take it. And if they start trading below that 61 to 61, 60 to 60, 75, 60, 75 to 61, then take off that long bias. All right, back to the ES, and okay, I see getting a little bit of weakness here, backing off into the afternoon. So we'll see if it's going to be a fake out or not. But looks like they get a little bit of profit taking kicking in right now. So watch these lower support areas, the 60s and the 50s. Below 60s, we take off the long bias. Below 50s, there'll be a back range band for sure. All right, guys, we leave it there. I'll see you back bright and early in the morning. Now, tomorrow morning, we have CPI come out. So we have one piece of news coming out tomorrow. So that's going to be interesting. But so far, just one trade on Nasdaq was a shakeout and didn't re-engage it since. I was waiting, as I said this morning, for that rotation down and retest the lows, but so far, no go on that one. So right now, we are on the other side of the edge. All right. Okay, we'll see you back in the morning. Later.